Hey, we made it. Previously on Spawn Adventures, we continued to rack up kilometers across BC and told some of the stories of past experiences that shaped us into the riders we are today. Hi. Do it again.
Everyone has the opportunity to choose and make a decision based on their own perspective. We choose to ride and explore.
Today, we have found ourselves on a pretty significant bike ride. The ride started over 18 hours ago on the south coast of British Columbia.
That's right. We left at 2 in the morning, and we are now less than 50 kilometers from the border to Alaska.
How in the hell did we end up here?
How did we get here? We fought for it. We have dreams, and step by step, we push to make them real. We spent countless hours planning, preparing, making friends, and learning to say goodbye. We've had fun, lots of fun, but other times it's been tough or just downright painful. I wouldn't trade these experiences in for anything. We've chosen this path and everything that comes with it. We've never asked for life to be easy. It's the struggle that makes you feel alive.
This last leg of the journey had us completely mesmerized. The scenery got beautiful and we just completely forgot we've been riding for the last 18 hours.
Next stop, Hyder, Alaska. ...1,650 kilometers in 18 hours. I can't believe we actually made it. It was just an open border, and we just drove on through. I absolutely love this day, and I'm gonna remember it for the rest of my life. Thanks, Dad.
We drove on down to where the road meets the bay. It couldn't have been a more beautiful day for it. You'd think we would have become a couple zombies after a ride like that.
Maybe we did.
We made it. We'd stayed the night back in Stewart. The morning had an unreal feeling to it. It was crisp, but not very cold, and everything seemed to stand still in time. I let Aaron sleep in. Aaron, ready for breakfast?
Yeah.
Or lunch?
Let's breakfast, actually.
It's like a game. You're supposed to find which one has the hot water for the tea in it. After breakfast, we decided to take a walk and explore the place. It's a wide collection of early 20th century buildings that includes former stores, lodges, and even a brothel. And tugboats. And this thing. It wasn't long until we were looking forward to getting back on the bike and exploring further. We heard there's a great place to spot bears. And further up a long gravel road, a glacier that had to be seen. Sounded like a nice ride to me.
We are going to watch the bears feed on fish.
What do you think?
You can't even believe what you're looking at when you're standing there. That view is definitely going to be a tough one to beat.
There's often times on a ride where you have to take a step back and really appreciate where that machine has taken you. The motorcycle has a special way of delivering you to amazing experiences. Much later on, back in Victoria, we had submitted our paperwork to the IBA, and our friend Clive invited us back on the Farkle Garage Show. As an ambassador for the Long Distance Riding Club, he presented Aaron with a certificate for our endurance ride. That makes him the youngest in the country.
The youngest saddle sore 1600K finisher from Canada.
It wasn't easy. I'm proud of you, little
You
buddy.
can't just jump on your motorcycle that's out in the garage and ride 1,000 miles in a day. It isn't going to happen, guys. You got to do as you guys did.
Back in Victoria, our little city by the sea is no small town. Somehow it finds ways to grow larger and more spectacular every year. Here, we can find almost anything we need. From camping equipment, to electronics, and groceries. But more importantly, motorcycles. And any parts you may need when you're planning for a trip. Or other things you may need along the way. In many small towns, things aren't always so available.
In Stewart B.C., we started shopping around for a few things we needed.
Now this is a small town. The stores are pretty basic and the selection can be limited.
We found that while you might be able to find some things you're looking for, not everything you may need is for sale, even something as basic as a liter of oil. Motorcycle oil is different than regular car oil. The oil that lubricates the engine is the same oil used for the transmission and the clutch. It's all shared, so finding specifically motorcycle oil was really important. After searching the stores, we discovered there was none available.
started to ask around to see if there was any other local riders that might have a leader.
We met a guy at a local repair shop who said he might have some in a back shed. We followed him back to his place where he had found a liter of motorcycle oil. No charge, just a handshake.
Luckily, people are awesome, and like many places around the world, these small communities support each other.
The kindness that we received from this man is appreciated for more than just a liter of oil, but also acts as a lesson to those discovering what being a Canadian is all about.
Disaster averted.
Ready to go.
We're on a mission. Our next goal was to ride all the way to the top of the province.
We only have to eat up about 400 kilometers to get there. We're then going to head back down along the east side of BC and start making our way towards home.
It's time to saddle up and get riding. Yukon Territory, here we come.
We hit a well-known junction, and from here, we headed north to the Alaska Highway, hundreds of kilometers away from home, and adding days to the trip.
I like the sound of that already.
It didn't take long until we ran into bears. This young one, and then another. They were more scared of us, although we weren't exactly about to get off the bike. We were pretty surprised to see a group of horses just roaming down the highway, in the middle of nowhere. They obviously belonged to somebody. We were packing everything we needed for staying outside of a town for almost a week if we needed to. We look out for places to camp and would only stay if we felt like stopping for the day.
On this day, we were eager to set up camp for the first time this trip. So earlier in the day, we found a nice spot by the river and made it home for the night.
We were using a couple new pieces of equipment, and we're pretty happy with how easy the tent was to set up. Yeah, it's pretty big, but not too heavy, and with the trailer, you can pack something like this. A bigger shelter makes it easy to manage camp and riding equipment, and to hang out in if the weather turns bad.
Jeez.
We discovered that the water filter we bought was also a nice design. Filters and stores the water. Really handy to have around.
Our biggest problem at camp was to decide who was going to take care of the dishes. You'd figure that a shooting competition would solve that one easy.
And all the insides 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10.
No worries, they're just air guns.
Ready? 5 shots, Aaron.
That's it. Safety off.
Here you go, Aaron.
Guess who won that one? Oh yeah!
Guess who lost the challenge?
Next morning, we were pretty excited to get back on the road. Only a couple hundred Ks till we reached the Yukon border.
might be highways, but at times there's no one there, just us. Pretty easy to just pull over and take a few photos.
Oh, it's a video clip. Okay, steamroller! Steamroller, go! Come on!
Goal number 3. Reach the top of the province? Check.
Hey, you're live from Yukon Territory.
Hey.
Rolling on into the Yukon. Only having the time to skim the surface of this territory, we headed east to Watson Lake.
Heading down the main strip, we immediately spotted something on our left. A very serious amount of signs.
As we found out, this place was filled with signs from all over the world, brought by travelers from their homes since 1942.
It began when a U.S. soldier was spending time in the area, recovering from an injury. A commanding officer had asked him to repair the directional signpost, and when he completed the job, he added one more, pointing to the direction of his own hometown.
The trend caught on, and now there's over 77,000 signs in what is now called the Signpost Forest.
So many signs.
Next time through, we'll have to add our own.
Looping back south into BC, we took the Alaska Highway.
Now this may come as a surprise to most people out there. The Alaska Highway had some beautiful scenery, but as we found out as motorcycle riders, it was boring to ride on. Better hope you have a comfortable bike. I was actually thankful for many of the sections to be in such poor condition. With many large sections in a state of ongoing repairs, you really had to keep on your toes. Endlessly, it went from pavement to gravel. Pavement, then gravel, and often turned to gravel right when a nice swooping corner was coming up. And that wasn't the only hazard on the road.
Yeah, you better watch out for animals. A bison.
A bison? Woo! Check it out.
Gonna go see a bison. Gonna go see a bison. Oil. He's kind of looking at me. Hey, bud.
We later came across an entire herd. It was pretty intimidating to be near so many of those guys just on a bike. Those things are awesome, but when their huge heads look over at you, you want to get moving.
Not stopping this time. Nope. No way. It was getting later in the day, so we started searching for a good place to camp.
So we're about like right here then.
So we got to be somewhere along here. Now, as soon as we get to
past the river, we must be like right here.
yeah, so the river's been on our left.
So yeah, we must be like right down here.
Yeah.
And then
So right now the river must be on our right. And so it's behind the woods over here. And now we're going to go down here, and then we're going to hit McDonald Campground, and then we have
there's nothing
flats.
there. No, that's a viewing point.
Oh, right. Oh, that's Strawberry Flats.
Good.
Okay.
That's good.
Neutral. Neutral now. Good to go. Ready?
Yep.
Okay, let's go.
That haze in the sky is still the smoke from the BC fires, reaching all the way up here. We found that it kind of spoiled a lot of the views on this trip, especially at night.
Muncho Lake. Time to set up camp. We are now in northeastern BC at the foot of the Rocky Mountains. This was a pretty sweet spot.
The water was freezing cold, but so refreshing after being trapped in our riding suits all day.
It was a calm night, and we figured we'd just settle in, eat dinner, hang out, otherwise just relax for the night.
Boy, were we wrong.
Yours is in there.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
My knife will work.
As long as it's a knife.
Where's it?
Where's what?
The thing you wanted.
Up north in the mountains like this, the weather systems can be unpredictable and crazy intense. A thunderstorm came in fast from the south.
Giant. There's like a huge lightning storm outside.
There it is, there.
Lightning.
This is really nerve-wracking. Okay, you guys saw that.
The boats were racing to the other side of the lake to avoid the rapidly developing storm. We were feeling very exposed out on the shore of the lake and started to wonder how at risk we were of being struck by lightning. The lightning and thunder rolled closer and closer. It was definitely heading our way.
That means it's getting closer.
The rain became heavy, pounding on the tent furiously. The wind grew, and as it did, it began tearing up the pegs on the one side of the tent. The lightning became constant, and you could see it striking areas all around us. We were right in the middle of it. We would have never assumed that the weather would have turned like this, and I'd only mildly staked it down. I'm thankful we replaced the old tent when we did. The design of this tent is much stronger than our last one, and this unexpected situation might have left us way worse than it did.
I gotta admit, it was pretty scary. When the lightning is striking all around you, you never know if the next strike is going to be in the tree right next to your tent. It's not like we had a truck to take shelter in.
You gotta laugh it off a bit now, huh? No. It's going catatonic.
The night rapidly calmed. We settled into our sleeping bags and found a way to take our minds off the seriousness of the evening and on to something seriously stupid and funny, but mostly stupid and silly. Kinda dumb, made us laugh, but mostly stupid. It had some funny parts. The next morning was warm from the very beginning. The haze remained, but there's enough beauty around to easily make up for it. We started the day off slow, real slow. Then we played a fun game of skipping rocks called Don't Hit the Pillion. Next was our other favorite activity.
That this was going to be our last good riding day.
This turned out to be our last fuel stop this trip.
We found a nearby campsite and settled in.
The course of a journey can change in a second. This is what amounts to an adventure. You're not supposed to see it coming. It may not always be as glorious as you would hope. The next morning, I stumbled towards the trailer. To avoid knocking the bike over, I twisted to the side and threw my back out. This was painful, and I could barely lift the bike off the side stand. Once riding, I discovered I couldn't hold the weight of the bike if we came to a stop. So we rode. non-stop, 250 kilometers to the Dawson Creek Hospital. I slid off the bike in significant pain. Got checked in and checked out.
Aaron.
It was a significant muscle sprain to the lower back and wasn't able to be riding for at least a week. We didn't have the budget or the time for that. An awesome guy pushed the bike to a side road for us. Another awesome guy offered to drive us and all of our gear to a local hotel. That's twice awesome for those counting. And we're not done yet. We checked into a hotel and made a few phone calls. Turns out the additional motorcycle insurance I took out covered this very type of situation. The next day, I received a call that confirmed it. All of our expenses will be covered. We'll have several days to hang out while I heal up enough for the flight home. Also covered. Everything was covered. This was cause for a celebration.
We spent our time making the best of life without the bike. Dinner's out, buckets of frozen yogurt, rock climbing, and a lot of swimming.
When I felt up for it, we rented a car. I went to go thank the nice man and his wife for helping us out. We cleaned up the bike and prepared it for its trip home. We decided to spend the last night exploring and headed for the mountains. With an energetic spirit and a positive attitude, the adventure will always continue. The moments that are unplanned are not moments to waste, and it's these situations that are remembered forever. With the right person by your side, you can make any situation awesome.